Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
We have learned to create forms using HTML code. So today we will see how can we process that data. You accept some data through HTML form and using PHP you can process that. It could be as simple as just storing in database or responding to the user using the same data. Okay, so let's get started. Within WAM64 folder, PHP files are stored in www folder. This is one form that we have already created using HTML. So right now, if I view the page source, there is form tag using which we could display the form and various labels are there. We are accepting user name, email, message and one button, a submit button using which the user can submit his details. And this form has been styled using one CSS file. It is external CSS file and that has been linked to this form using link tag. We have already discussed this, haven't we? So today's focus is not form creation or styling the form. Now I want to accept this data and respond back to the user. Whatever name has been typed by the user, I want to greet him back. Suppose the username is Alice. I want to say welcome Alice. Further details will be sent to your email ID, whatever has been entered, followed by her email ID. Assume this form is for registration to some event, a workshop, a conference. Okay, so right now if I enter anything, username and email and some message, and I click on button, no action has been taken. The reason, all that we have created is simply one form. There is no action for that. There is no script to take action on this form when we submit. And that is the task of today's session, to learn how to handle this form using PHP. So here is form tag and I want to have a script that will perform some action based on the data. So I'm going to write action is equal to that script name. We are yet to write that. So you need to write whatever address you will be typing in the address bar on the browser. And this is how we access the PHP file, correct? Localhost / PHP file name. Let's give some meaningful name. Since this is demonstration, I'll give the name as formhandling.php. So this PHP file will take care of the data once it is submitted. So he is the person who will carry out further action. HTML is only for rendering, only for displaying the details on the web page. It will not perform further action. That will be done by this PHP. And how are you going to share it? What is the method? Basically, there are two methods whenever you submit any data over the network. So initially we'll use get method. However, this file is not yet ready, so let's quickly write it. Let's save it with the appropriate name. And this name has to match whatever has been written against action field. Since it is PHP code, I need to write the PHP tag. Now here I want to display a message using the name entered by the user. So whatever name will be entered by the user, I am going to greet the user with the same name. So in order to display any message, I can use echo command. Alternatively, you can make use of print as well. Welcome whom? The value entered against this input field, correct? And what is its name? We have associated this field with certain name, correct? Which is user underscore name. However, I cannot directly write user underscore name. The PHP engine cannot identify what this is. So how are we going to identify? Now look at this method. We are making use of get method. So whatever data has been submitted by the user with appropriate name associated with individual field, these will be stored in one associative array. What is that associative array? That associative array which holds all the data submitted through form is this $_get. It's an associative array. We have discussed associative arrays in PHP in detail yesterday. How do we access elements of associative array? Can I say $_get subscript 0? Will it work?
Ma'am, what's the difference between ID and name?
ID is needed when you use it in JavaScript. When you want to fetch using document.getElement by ID. So if you want to make use of that function in JavaScript, then ID is necessary. There I cannot use name if you are going to use document get element by ID. But now in PHP, in order to fetch data entered against input field, I need to make use of this field, this name attribute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now my question is, this is an associative array, meaning whatever details you enter, name, email ID and your message, that will be stored in this array, $_get. How do we access individual elements of associative array?
Using keys.
Correct. And what is key in this case? Can you make a guess? Logical guess? Obviously that cannot be numerical value, correct? Since it is not enumerated array, I cannot write 0, 1 and so on. So what could be the key in this case? The value you have mentioned against name attribute. So this acts as key for the associative array $_get. So within this I am going to write username. So for this input field, this is the name. I am going to copy and paste it here. So this will fetch me the value particular user has entered in name field. Okay, so coming back to this PHP code against echo command, we will write welcome followed by this associative array element. So this is done. Once I enter some data, let's verify how it works. So here is the form. Did we save it? Yes, and we have also mentioned the action and method. What happened? Sorry, we are yet to start the server. The server was not functioning. Yeah, now the server is up and running. So let's refresh and enter the data. Okay, the control reached PHP script. However, there seems to be some syntax error. It is on line number 6, which is this echo message. The method is indeed get, and this was the name. So earlier this was part of the same string. Now let's try appending that. Yes, here is the output. So the correct way to access associative array $_get is to append it to the string. So it shouldn't be part of same string within double quote. Okay. Now assume at the time of entering this data, the user entered something in this way. He is not aware that caps lock was on intermittently, and he submitted name with a mixture of cases, and you do not want this to happen. You want all the names of interested participants to be stored in the same format. Can anyone tell proper solution for this? It's a good idea to store all the names in one case. I gave you the list of some useful functions. Which function is suitable for that? I want to store this name and as well as greet the user with one particular case, either uppercase or lowercase. Is there any PHP function which helps me to do that? You can at least type your response in chat box. Okay, Swati has posted her response. String to upper or lower. Correct. So here is the name that I have fetched using associative array. Now let's use this built-in string function so that no matter in which case the user enters, we can store it in particular format. So this prevents storing the data with mixture of different cases. It looks neat. Correct. Now apart from this greeting message, let's display another message that more details will be sent to your ID followed by user email ID. And as usual, I am going to access that using associative array. What should I write in between this pair of square brackets? Can I write mail?
User mailman.
Correct. I need to check the value which I have entered for name attribute, which is user_mail. So I'll copy this and paste in between the square bracket. Let's add new line character after first message and after second also, because if I write anything after this, I want it to be displayed on new line. So this is the data and let's submit it. And here I could display email also using associative array. Fine. Now let me add one more field in this form. Let me add password field. So here is one more field. Assume the password is 12345. This is optional text area. So this is confidential, isn't it? Now observe this address bar when I click on send your message. So you got the greeting message and a confirmation that details will be sent to your email ID. Now pay attention to this address bar. What has been displayed? Your file name, localhost/formhandling.php question mark. And what is mentioned after that?
Details, ma'am, whatever we have entered in that file.
True.
Form.
Yeah. So this is the value which we mentioned for name of individual input fields. And are you okay with this sharing with the browser? I mean, anyone could access this data. If your network is not secure enough, it is not a big deal to steal this data which is displayed on the address bar. So your username has been displayed. Username is equal to Alice plus ampersand user mail. And what is this? User password is also displayed. Not acceptable. Correct? You want this to be confidential. Maybe you are okay with sharing your email. Anyway, you are just going to receive that. Correct? That doesn't reveal much of your confidential details. But user password, while entering it was displayed as dots, disk, correct? Or darkened disk, that was okay. But your password is being revealed in plain text along with your message. This is not acceptable. This is not a good practice from the point of security. What is the solution? That's where the question of method choice comes into picture. We have used this get method. I mentioned one more method in the beginning of this session. Can you recall that? I told you there are two methods to submit data, form data over the network to the respective server. One is get. What is another one?
Post.
Post. So I'm going to replace this get with post method. Let rest of the code remain the same. We are only changing the method. So this is the same data. Let's not change that. This is password and click on send your message. So what had to be changed? We came across some error. After I changed method from get to post, I am not getting the previous output. What else should I have changed? So here is the PHP code. It is unable to identify that variable. What is the mistake?
We have written
Post.
get here, ma'am. We
Yeah.
have to write post.
Correct. So if the method is post, the associative array name will be $_post. So we got the original output. What about the address bar? Did it reveal any details that we have entered? No, it did not. So which one do you think is secure when sharing sensitive detail, sensitive information? Get or post? Which one do you prefer? Post. Correct. Post is better method when you want to submit any detail that you wish to be confidential. You do not want to reveal it to the world. So this I wanted to convey with this form submission and form handling using PHP. So no matter what data you enter, you need to have some value for the name attribute, and using associative array you can access that. And not just echo message, you can also assign this to some local variable, and if you want to perform any computation, you can do that. For example, you might ask a user to enter his date of birth, and you could compute his age using PHP code by writing appropriate logic. First of all, you need to store his date of birth, DDMMYY, and using those values, you could write logic to compute his age and display one message. You are so many years, so many months old, and so on. Okay, and thus the procedure to handle any form data remains the same using PHP. Now that you know the two kinds of methods, post and get, and you also know that post is better when you want to share any sensitive information. Now let's discuss about these two methods. So what are these get and post? They form a part of the mechanism through which browser clients can send information to the web servers. So it's whatever you saw in the address bar, that is called URL encoding, and this is how your information will be encoded, and you can see it on the address bar. For example, in our case, we could see username is equal to Alice and user email is equal to Alice email ID, and so on. So you can see name value pair separated by ampersand in your address bar, browser address bar. So though we have mentioned web servers, for demonstration purpose we have used local server. But even when you use say search engine, Google search engine, you write some string in the search bar, and once you click on submit, you can see your topic of interest in the address bar. So that is called URL encoding. And this is how user information can be appended to the page request. You are requesting for certain page from the web server, and to request that, your information is required. For example, if you want to search information on any topic, the server needs to know what topic for which you have requested information, because there will be terabytes of information, even more than that. So among that data, what exactly are you looking for? Which page you are interested in? In order to know that, your user information is necessary to the server. And your page name and encoded information will be separated by question mark. Yeah, here is the example. This is your page and this is encoded information. It's not a good practice. If you use get method, all your data will be displayed on the browser. So as mentioned, the get method produces a long string which will appear in server log. Wherever server has been installed, in its folder you will have something called as logs. So who has logged on to the server, from where did the request come, and what is the user information, that will be placed in server log file. And here is one restriction on get method. You can send data with certain length, and that length is 1024 characters. You cannot send data beyond this. And this is obvious. Do not send sensitive information using get method. Suppose you are using internet for online shopping, and in the process you make use of your net banking credentials, And imagine what the situation could lead to if your internet ID and password is displayed in the address bar. And it is very much possible for a hacker to steal that information if you are using get method. Of course, the net banking web developers will take care of that feature. That aspect will be taken care of by them. But in future, if you are going to design any web services, you need to remember this fact. Get is not suitable for sharing sensitive information. And yes, if you want to share any file through form, it could be images or Word documents, you might have observed in some forms you are required to upload some file. It could be your resume, your biodata, or anything similar to that. If you want to upload and submit, that cannot be done using get method. For that, you have to rely on post method only. And this is how we access, correct? This is a syntax part of it. If you still prefer get method for non-sensitive data, then you can go for get associative array. $_get is the array name, and in order to access individual data, it should be followed by square bracket within which you will write the key, and that key will be named, that key will be mentioned against name attribute in the HTML code. So this is about get method. Now let's see how post is different from get method. So one of you asked how the data will be sent. I mean, who carries that data till the server? So this post method will transfer the information through HTTP header, not through URL encoding. And the information that is input by you will be placed in a header called query string, and that will obviously not visible in the address bar, but it will be part of your packet which will be received by the server, destination server. And there is no restriction on size of data as in case of get method. You can send data as much as you want, even beyond 1024 characters. You can even send documents and images. Yeah, this point is important. Even though your information will not be displayed on the address bar, the ultimate security depends on the protocol. I mean, how robust and secure your network is. Even that factor comes into picture. And if you want better security, your server should be using HTTPS, HTTP Secure Version Protocol. And this we have already discussed. These two are repeated, and this we have seen in our code. The moment I changed the method from get to post, I should have changed associative array name as well. So this is associative array name followed by which you have to write square bracket within which write the key, whether email or password, whatever you have written in your HTML code. Now coming back to PHP code. In the list of string functions, we have mentioned one function at the end. If anyone has tried, can you tell me what did it do? There was one function called SHA1. In this form, I am also accepting password from the user. Now assume I display a message saying your password will be stored as whatever you have entered. Let's see what is the key. It is user underscore password. Are you okay with this? Your password needs to be stored somewhere. For example, whenever you sign up on any site, be it Gmail or any forum, your password should be stored in certain database. And do you think they will always be plain text? If you store your password as plain text, if the server stores it as plain text, that is a big security loophole. Not at all the correct practice. So what they do is, be it any services like mail services or your Facebook or Instagram, they will never store your password in plain text format. Never. What they do is, they convert this password into encrypted format. So initially at the time of signing up, you give your email ID, user login, desired user login. If this is available, it will be allotted to you, and they'll also ask your password, correct? This is a very weak password, or never use such password. And they'll also ask for the confirmation, re-enter, which you will re-enter as per the instruction. So once this is available and your password meets the requirement, 8 characters or combination of special characters, 1 uppercase and so on, if both the conditions are met, request goes to particular server, say Gmail or FB server, and there in their database they'll be saving all your details, not just you, all the users across the world. And in their table your login will be as it is. However, your password will be encrypted. They'll never store this as it is. Instead, this will be converted to encrypted string. It will be combination of characters. And it will not be just 5 characters as your password. It will be much longer than that, and so on. So who does this? How do they encrypt it? They apply certain encryption algorithm. The stronger the algorithm, more secure is your password. So this is one-time procedure. They save it. So this is signing up. Now what happens when you log in? First time you sign up yourself for their services, social media account, you create it, and next time when you log in, of course you will use the same credential, Alice followed by password. How do they compare that? You cannot say if your password is equal to whatever has been stored. That will never work, because they have not stored your plain text password in the first place. Whatever they have stored is in encrypted format. So at the time of login, they check if user ID exists. They search their database. Do we have any login account? Any account with Alice? Yes. valid. What about the password? They cannot use equal to operator directly on your password. What they do is they again apply the same encryption algorithm or any hash algorithm that will produce unique value. So whatever encryption procedure they apply on your password which you have entered at the time of login, is it same as the password for this user ID? If it matches, yes, here is one authenticated user and you will be redirected to your home page on the FB server. So all the all the mail services and social media or any service on the web that make use of login feature, they follow same procedure. They'll never store your password in plain text. I hope this is clear. Now in PHP, for your assignment, you can also use one function. So that will help you to store the password in encrypted format instead of a simple plain text. And that function is, one such function is SHA1. It calculates hash on your password so that you can store it in non-plain text format. So I just applied this function and let's re-enter. Password is same 12345 and submit the data. See the result. So even when you want to create login account, if I give you any assignment that involves creating one account and retrieving that, checking that during login, you have to rely on this function. So this was listed in those string functions. You can make use of it. Any assignment wherein a password is used. Alright, we will sign off now and we will meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you.